When I saw the $12,478 charge on my credit card, I didn't scream. I didn't freak out. I didn't even ask questions. I just texted back 4 words that would end my family drama forever. Then you'll love what's coming. My name is Jessica Blake, I'm 31 years old, and I spent a decade being my family's personal ATM before I finally learned how to say account closed. The notification popped up on a Tuesday morning while I was drinking coffee in my apartment. $12,478. Gone. Just like that. My savings account looked like it had been hit by a financial tornado, and sitting in the eye of that storm was a charge from some luxury resort company I'd never heard of. I blinked at the screen 5 times before it sank in. The family vacation I'd agreed to help book had somehow morphed into a luxury experience that cost more than my car. The basic beachfront rental had become a private villa with a chef, spa treatments, and a goddamn boat cruise. All charged to the card I'd stupidly volunteered to put down as collateral. My phone buzzed. A text from my sister Riley. "Hey, just saw the charge." It was for the whole family, so don't stress about it. Don't ruin the vibe, lol. Don't ruin the vibe. I stared at those words until they burned themselves into my brain. For years of unpaid loans, 6 years of covering her rent, a decade of being the family ATM, and her response to bankrupting me was "don't ruin the vibe." I typed back slowly, each word deliberate. "Then you'll love what's coming." She never responded. She probably thought I was being sarcastic. I wasn't. That afternoon, I opened a spreadsheet and titled it, "Every Dollar Riley Owes Me." By the time I finished the first tab, I had 5 more columns and a plan that would make her wish she'd never learned my credit card number. See, this wasn't Riley's first performance in the theater of financial manipulation. This was just her biggest production yet. For 10 years, I'd been funding her lifestyle one emergency at a time. Riley was 19 and had just discovered that boys with motorcycles cost money. She needed $300 for concert tickets, claimed she couldn't figure out the payment website, and promised to Venmo me immediately. The money never came, but her Instagram story did. "Front row seats" caption. Manifested this energy. By 23, she'd convinced our parents that her spring break trip to Cabo was educational. Somehow, I became the scholarship fund. "You've got that stable job now, right?" she said, like working 60 hours a week at a tech startup qualified me as a personal bank. Every year, the amounts grew. Car insurance, rent deposits, emergency vet bills for pets she forgot to feed. Each time, our parents would corner me with the same guilt-wrapped manipulation. "She's your sister, Jessica. Family helps family." What they meant was, you help, she spends, everyone pretends it's normal. When I was 28, she asked me to co-sign her apartment lease. When I hesitated, Mom pulled me aside and delivered the classic. "She just needs someone to believe in her." Translation: she needs someone with good credit and a steady paycheck to clean up her mistakes. 6 months later, Riley got evicted for throwing a loud party with a live DJ, lot of smoke, and in a 1-bedroom apartment. The lease was in both our names. Guess who got stuck with the remaining rent? You'd think I'd learn, but there's something about being the responsible one that makes you feel obligated to keep everyone else's world spinning. Every unpaid debt became proof that I was dependable. Every bailout became evidence that I cared more about family than money. The truth is, I was addicted to being needed, even when it was destroying me. So when Riley suggested the family vacation, I said yes before my brain could stop my mouth. "Everyone splits it equally," she promised. "Just put your card down for the booking." What I should have said, "Pay me up front or find another idiot." What I actually said, "Sure." 3 weeks before the trip, Riley texted the group chat. "Upgraded our place. Found an amazing villa with all the extras. Same split, just better vibes." I should have asked what extras meant. I should have demanded to see the new booking. Instead, I trusted her. Again. The vacation itself was perfect, if you ignored the growing knot in my stomach every time Riley ordered another round of drinks or booked another quick spa treatment. I kept telling myself it would all balance out when everyone settled up. It didn't balance out. It never does. The morning after we returned, I found the charge. 12 grand for a week that was supposed to cost 3. When I confronted Riley, she hit me with the classic. We all benefited. You're doing fine financially. Don't be weird about money. Don't be weird about money. As if wanting to keep my own salary was some kind of personality disorder. That night, I made 2 phone calls. The first was to my lawyer friend Marcus, who specialized in small claims and fraud cases. The second was to a private investigator who could document Riley's spending patterns and social media posts. By Friday, I had a legal strategy. By Monday, I had a court date. By Tuesday, Riley had no idea what was coming. But I wasn't ready to strike yet. I needed the perfect moment, the right audience, the kind of public accountability that couldn't be spun into victim narratives or family drama. The opportunity came 2 weeks later when Riley announced a casual family get-together at our parents' house. Translation: she had news to share and needed a captive audience to celebrate her latest achievement. I showed up with a folder full of receipts, bank statements, and legal documents. Every unpaid loan, every broken promise, every time someone said just this once and disappeared into the wind. Riley opened the door wearing a flowing white dress and the smile of someone who thought she was about to be crowned princess of Sunday brunch. "Jessica," she squealed, hugging me like we hadn't spent the last month in tense silence. Perfect timing. We're just getting started. She led me into the living room where her boyfriend Marcus was holding mimosas, and my parents were arranging themselves around the coffee table like this was a magazine photo shoot. Riley raised her glass. "I'm so happy we're all here. This is what family's about, right? Supporting each other no matter what." I nodded once and set my folder on the side table. "Then you'll love what's coming." That's when the floorboards started shaking. Heavy footsteps on the porch. Slow, deliberate, the kind of footsteps that make a house hold its breath. Riley didn't notice. She was too busy soaking in her moment, talking about how someone had begged her to become a lifestyle influencer. The knock came at exactly 2:47 p.m. I know because I checked my watch. Riley frowned toward the door. Were we expecting someone? Before anyone could answer, the door opened and a man in a gray suit stepped inside. Tall, professional, carrying a leather satchel like he'd done this 1,000 times before. "I'm looking for Riley Morgan," he said. She blinked. "That's me." He opened his satchel, pulled out an envelope, and handed it to her with the kind of calm that comes from years of ruining people's days. "You've been served." The room went silent. Not the comfortable quiet of a lazy Sunday afternoon, but the dead silence that follows a car crash. Riley stared at the envelope like it might explode. Marcus leaned forward, confused. Dad muttered something from behind his newspaper. Mom stood frozen in the doorway, still holding a plate of avocado toast. "What is this?" she asked, voice sharp with the kind of maternal panic that means someone's about to get blamed for everything. Riley couldn't speak. For someone who never shut up, it was impressive how thoroughly the words had left her. Marcus reached for the envelope. "Maybe I should." "Don't touch it," Riley snapped, jerking it away. The process server gave me a polite nod. "If you need anything else, you have my number." "I do," I said. "Thank you." He left the same way he came, professional and unbothered, like he had 6 more brunches to destroy before dinner. What followed was the kind of silence that makes you aware of every sound in the house. The hum of the refrigerator, the tick of the wall clock, the quiet rustle of Dad turning a newspaper page like nothing had happened. Finally, Mom found her voice. "What is this, Jessica?" "Legal accountability," I said. "Something we've been avoiding for about 10 years. Riley's hands shook as she opened the envelope. Inside were copies of bank statements, loan agreements, and a detailed breakdown of every dollar she'd borrowed and never returned. $12,000 for the vacation was just the latest entry in a very long list. Marcus read over her shoulder, his face getting paler with each page. "This is detailed. I work in tech," I said. "If I can recover corrupted files, I can certainly track down 12 grand in missing money." "I didn't know it would be that much," Riley whispered. "Then maybe don't put an entire resort's worth of amenities on someone else's credit card." The explosion came all at once. Riley threw the papers down and stood up, fists clenched like she was ready for a fight. "This is humiliating. You brought a lawyer to brunch." "I didn't bring him," I said calmly. "He brought the law. You're suing your own sister. I'm pursuing repayment through legal channels since all other methods seem to be incompatible with your lifestyle." Dad finally lowered his newspaper. "Jessica, come on. This is family." That word, family. The magic shield that had protected Riley from consequences her entire adult life. "You're right," I said. "This is family. And in functional families, people don't steal $12,000 and then tell the victim not to ruin the vibe." Mom stepped forward, hands pressed together like she was praying for patience. "You could have talked to us first." "I did. For years. I talked about unpaid loans and broken promises and being treated like a personal ATM. The response was always the same. Family helps family, don't be weird about money. Riley's going through a tough time." "I meant recently," she said. "You mean after Riley committed financial fraud? After she spent my rent money on couples massages and monogrammed bathrobes?" The room stayed quiet. No comebacks, no excuses, just the uncomfortable reality of 10 years' worth of enabled behavior finally meeting consequences. Riley found her voice again, shaky with rage and disbelief. "You've always hated me." I laughed. "Couldn't help it." "No, Riley. I've always pitied you. There's a difference." She stood up, swaying slightly. "You think you're better than me?" "No," I said, standing too. "I think I'm done letting you convince me I'm worse." Marcus tried to mediate. "Look, maybe we went overboard with the vacation, but can't we settle this quietly? Like, outside of court?" "Sure," I said. "Pay me back in full plus legal fees plus interest for the outstanding loans." His face went white. "Are you serious?" "As a heart attack." "Come on, that's not reasonable." Neither was putting a $2,000 spa day on my credit card because you wanted matching robes for your Instagram story. Riley made a sound somewhere between a gasp and a scream. "This is actually happening. You're actually doing this to me." "No," I said, picking up my folder. "I'm finally doing this for me." I walked toward the door, each step feeling lighter than the last. Behind me, voices started rising. Mom calling my name, Riley sobbing, Marcus asking questions no one wanted to answer. "Jessica, please don't do this," Mom called out. I looked back one last time. I already did. The door clicked shut behind me, and for the first time in 10 years, I didn't feel guilty. Not the polite guilt that hangs around after every family gathering. Not the quiet ache when someone calls you selfish for having boundaries. Just air. Just space. Just silence. But the real revenge was still coming. 3 weeks passed before the damage control started. First came the family group text where Riley painted herself as the victim of a vicious legal attack. She claimed I'd offered to pay for the vacation and then changed my mind, conveniently leaving out the part about unauthorized charges and years of unpaid debts. Marcus tried a different approach. He emailed my lawyer with an offer to pay back a third of the money if I dropped everything. We declined. My lawyer, bless him, simply replied, "We're not interested in partial accountability." Then came the social media campaign. Riley posted tearful Instagram stories about family betrayal, complete with Bible verses about forgiveness, and captions like, "Some people will destroy you the second you stop giving them everything." I didn't respond. What was I supposed to say? Actually, I destroyed you by refusing to be destroyed. The civil suit didn't need a courtroom. Riley's lawyer took one look at the evidence and advised her to settle. She paid back every cent, not because she wanted to, but because she had no other choice. But the real consequences were just beginning. Riley's lifestyle influencer dreams died when a brand partnership fell through. Turns out companies don't love working with people who have active lawsuits for financial fraud. She claimed defamation, but the court documents were public record. Marcus left her 2 months later. In a moment of weakness, he sent me a check for $1,000 with a note. "She told me you were the problem. I should have seen it sooner." I never replied, but I didn't tear up the check either. The family fractures were permanent. Some relatives took Riley's side, convinced I'd gone too far. Others quietly reached out to apologize for years of enabling. My Aunt Claire sent a handwritten card. "You did the right thing. I wish I'd done it years ago." As for Riley, last I heard she was working retail and living with roommates. Her Instagram account went private after someone posted screenshots of the legal filing in her comments. She claimed harassment, but the internet has a long memory for people who play victim while victimizing others. I moved to a new apartment, changed my phone number, and updated my emergency contacts. For the first time in my adult life, my bank account belonged to me. My paycheck went toward my own dreams instead of someone else's disasters. The guilt took longer to fade. There were nights I'd lie awake wondering if I'd gone too far, if maybe one more conversation could have fixed things. But then I'd remember Riley's response to bankrupting me. "Don't ruin the vibe." Some people don't change because they don't have to. They just find new victims. A few months ago, I ran into a high school friend at a coffee shop. She'd heard about the lawsuit through social media gossip and pulled me aside. "That whole thing with your sister," she said quietly, "that took guts. Most people never get out." Get out? Like it was a prison. Maybe it was. You know what they don't tell you about setting boundaries? Peace feels weird at first. You expect fireworks, celebration, a victory parade. Instead, it's quiet. It's eating dinner without your phone buzzing with financial emergencies. It's sleeping through the night without wondering which family member will need rescuing tomorrow. It's silence and realizing that silence isn't empty. It's space. Room for your own voice, your own life, your own money to stay where you put it. Sometimes I still wonder if I went too far. Should I have tried harder to make them understand? Given them one more chance to do the right thing? But then I remember something important. I did give them chances. Hundreds of them. For 10 years, I gave them the benefit of the doubt, the last dollar in my account, and pieces of my sanity I'll never get back. The lawsuit wasn't revenge. It was finally asking for what I was owed. And you know what? I'd do it again. Because some people will only respect you when you stop letting them disrespect you. Some families only understand love when it comes with legal documents. Riley taught me that family isn't about blood. It's about respect, accountability, and not stealing $12,000 from someone who trusted you. I learned it the expensive way, but I learned it. The floorboards stopped shaking. The bills got paid. The silence became peace. And that's worth more than any amount of money they ever took.